Welcome to Omega's Thoughts, a series where I cover controversial topics or anything that just interests me. Please take note that these videos are highly opinionated, so if you are easily offended, please stop watching now. Today's topic is racism. Before I get into this, I will be using the N-word non-offensively, of course, as well as other racial slurs. I'm not saying these words to cause any harm to anybody, just to simply get my views across. Without further ado, let's get into it. The first thing that I wanted to cover is the word nigga. It is different from most racial slurs because it was used to label and discriminate against someone back in the slavery era. Nowadays, people could use it for the same reasons, but more accurately, they just use it to call people in general a nigga. Most days you hear stuff like, "What's up, my nigga?" or "Yeah, I know him, that nigga's crazy." See how casually it can be used? All it is replacing words like friend and him. Personally, I feel the only people that make the word offensive are the people that take offense to it. If everyone stopped making that word taboo, it would just be another word like other racial slurs such as spick, chink, hick, kite, etc. The reason these racial slurs aren't as bad to say is because no one really takes them seriously. If we were to do the same thing with the word nigga, it would be just another word. The more people take offense to it, or the more people that try to avoid saying it, the more power it gets. By not saying it, you're just adding fuel to the flame. I can't say that I understand how offensive that word can be, but I do see how it could be offensive. There's a huge difference between saying "that's my nigga" and saying "that's a nigger." The end of that word, I feel, is what makes it offensive. Adding that ER just feels like you're trying to say it to hurt someone. I grew up where it was okay to say the word nigga. It's just a casual word. It's just simply become a part of my vocabulary. It's a word that I just can't replace. I can't talk to one of my friends and say, "Hi, friend." It just doesn't seem natural to me. Racism is a huge thing on the internet, on places like YouTube, if you're online gaming, just pretty much everywhere. The only reason why people use these racial slurs is to get a reaction out of the intended target. It's the same as using profanity. Imagine a world where you could call a girl a bitch and she won't kill you. That word would just become powerless. Same as the word nigga. If society turned it into a word that just meant friend, then racism towards African Americans would slowly die down. Of course, there will be a small percent of radical people that will use the word until their face turns purple. As far as racism to other races, there really isn't much else to say because a huge target is just placed on African Americans, so this applies mostly to them, but they aren't the only race discriminated against. It's actually kind of funny because while pretty much everyone is racist towards African Americans online, African Americans are very racist themselves in real life. Let's be honest, we've all seen it happen in school, a black kid picking on a white kid, calling him a white boy and stuff like that. You rarely see a white kid pounding a black kid, calling him a nigger. African Americans, from my personal experience of course, tend to exclude other races. This isn't definite, but from going to many different schools in my childhood, I've seen it happen almost everywhere. The reason why racism is so strong is because you have an African American saying, "It's because I'm black," or they take offense to the word nigga, and then the next day they're excluding other races and sometimes even picking on them. That contradictory is why racism will never die out. Unless people can learn to accept each other, don't expect racism to just vanish. We've come a long way since the slave era, but unless people can take the word nigga lightly and African Americans can accept other people, racism just won't die down. It's a long road and both sides need to walk an equal amount. Thanks for watching. This has been Omega's Thoughts on Racism.